I think it's really important that poetry is evident in my music all the time. When I look at certain artists like Andre 3000, I think of Kendrick Lamar. These are people that I consider to have rampant poetry all throughout their music. Sometimes I feel like it's just poetry wrapped in music, or just like having poetry just hiding within rhymes. Um, I remember Kendrick saying earlier that he was in love with words, and I find myself in a very similar disposition to him. When I see words, I always think, how can I use these to impact the people around me? I know people say sticks and stones may break your bones, but words are the ones that really hurt. While they do hurt, they also can uplift, they can minister, they can inspire. And I think that it's important to be distinct and descriptive with how you describe the things that you want to talk about. If you simply want to make a statement about something, don't just say it anyway. You know the phrase, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So if you can combine both, I think it makes the music all the better. I'm not going to lie to you. Failing really bad is a great way for you to realize where you are and where you need to grow. I remember early on in my life, my immediate family are super talented singers and super talented people. So when I was trying to do my own thing, I realized that I wasn't as talented in my mind. I wasn't as naturally gifted as them at the things that I wanted to be good at as well. So I knew I had to work on not only that, but the other elements of my passion to, find a way to balance or even it out. So, one of the reasons that I even got into music, as you mentioned, was because I failed. I remember distinctly I made my first song in high school with my sister, and I thought it sounded horrible. I know that some people liked it, but, I was like, I was young. I didn't really like how it sounded. They used some stuff on my voice that I wasn't really fond of, but it was cool. Years later, I decided to try again at music. And I was really hungry to make music, but I didn't know how to at the time. I was very new. I was like, I have a car, I have a phone. Let me go in my car, let me record this, let me find this app. I think it was called BandLab. They still have it now, but it's like I was recording in the car, and then I was mixing it and editing it myself, and then I released it on SoundCloud. And I was like, world, let's see it. It was horrible. The immediate response was, first of all, I can't hear what you're saying. What? And people was giving me all this feedback, and I internalized that I wasn't good enough at making music. So it really hurt me. Like, I was like, oh dang, I guess this is not the move, even though this was something that I was so passionate about. But then what I realized was that, no, Cobe, you're mixing. Your quality of music sounds bad, not your message, not your vocals. So I said, let me think about that. So I literally went to the people around me and I said, I know that I only have this amount of money. If you can help me find a way to get to Florida, I want to record. And by the grace of God and my family, I was able to find a way to get to Florida, and I recorded my first entire project within like 7 or 8 hours. Even the engineer was impressed because he said typically people work on like 1 or 2 songs. I recorded like 9 songs in 8 hours. He was so impressed that he gave me an additional song to work on and come back the next day. But like I said, I literally was only able to get there because I failed early on. I think it was just more of looking at my own life and just looking at how I noticed that sometimes we want things, but we don't necessarily get the things that we want. And even when we get those things, it's not what we expected. I don't mean to be that guy, but there's many times in my life where I was like, I really want that one thing, and I was able to get that one thing. And once I got it, I realized, oh, this is not exactly what I thought it was going to be. When it came to the people I had in my life, the women I had in my life, and it just came to certain feelings. Like, I don't know. I remember early on in my career, early on in my life, I should rather say, everyone knew me as someone that could do one particular thing. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I believe I was great at that thing, but I didn't get the feeling that I got when I was making music. I knew the entire time in my mind and in my soul, this was what I wanted to do. And so I'm happy that I have the ability to just channel that and hone that in and focus on that fully. You can expect better sound quality. Definitely better than before. One thing I love about my music, especially if you listen to it now, if you go back to SoundCloud, you'll see some of my early music. You will see, man, I see he has potential. Let's see if he can make that work in the future. And one thing that I believe that I've seen in my life, and then I believe some of my listeners have seen, I've always said, if I don't sound good today, I know I'm going to sound better next time. And I feel like in every single project, even if you liked a better song in one of my previous projects, you can tell he's getting better at what he's doing. And I think that even though it's myself, I do think I truly have been getting better at my craft, because in some of my songs that I've been working on, I really can hear the difference in my tones, the way I approach melodies, the way I write lyrics, the way I write songs. I remember early on in my career, I was like, man, we got to use every effect, every this, every that. And then I was like, sometimes don't be afraid to let your voice shine and let that be the thing that draws people in. Like one of my most popular songs, Travel Elsewhere, it's so funny because people love the intro to that song, and it's just my voice. I even had people come to me and they're like, oh, where did you get this sample? And I was like, no, that's me. And I realized that your voice is so important. Plus, I barely can play the piano. So when I wanted to do sounds, I was like, why not use my own voice and use what I can do? It's kind of hard to escape music in my family. My whole family is singers, artists, creators, directors, writers, and you only get better from being around these people. My mother was a very prominent R&B, neo soul, jazz individual. She played it heavily inside the house. And as you're a kid, you're like, oh my goodness, you hear that music, it's Sunday, that you're cleaning. But it's so funny because as years go by, you're like, wow, these were so good. I'm re-listening to Music Soul Child, and I'm just like, he's like inadvertently, the music that my mother was playing is how tonally I like to sound in my music. So it's just so crazy to see the influences of my mom. My sister was so talented. She, with very little practice, could hit any note you can. From a very young age, people said she has a wonderful gift. And it's so funny, my sister allowed me to see how songs could be sung. I remember you said that I used to call myself a poet with a musical flair. I used to call myself that, but I never thought that I could be singing. I thought that I could only be rhyming or rapping, and I was just like, that's not me, that's my family. And I'm not going to lie to you, it did kind of stunt my own growth for some years because I wasn't confident in myself enough to try to do that. The few times I did, they never were fully actualized, and I never could see my potential. To be quite frank, some of my family didn't think I could hold a tune. But that was when I was younger, and I told them, I said, if you give me some time, I can actually sing. But it fell on deaf ears then, but it took them hearing me as I got older for them to be like, wow, I didn't know that you could do this. I didn't know you could make your voice sound like this in different ways. And by no means am I the greatest singer in my family, but I do know that the inspiration and the music around my family has led me to create something that I feel is hopefully unique, because I combine so many different genres together. And I think you can hear it in my music. One thing I like and dislike about my music is that it doesn't feel, and it doesn't feel like it fits into a category sometimes. It feels very unique. And sometimes I'm like, wow, I'm really creative, and other times I'm just like, this ain't gonna pop off. So I'm just grateful because those music experiences that I had in my family were really good. And my father, as much as I clown him, he says he's classically and professionally trained. It's not. He does the opera voice and goes swimming. But other than that, I'm just so blessed because I have those musically inclined people in my life, and they allow me to grow. But one person I know for a fact that has really helped me grow in every aspect as an artist has to be my boy. Take your travels elsewhere, or should I say, if he edits this out, DJ. My boy Wayne. It's just I've yet to meet someone who is so inspirational in everything that he does, and really is a true friend. I'm sorry, because he looks out for me in ways that I don't even sometimes see or expect from him, even today. So I'm just really excited to even just share some of the things that I'm talking about with you.